Have you ever thought that silence can be louder than a last-minute goal? That's the paradox Lionel Messi embodies every time he steps onto a pitch, or even when he simply appears in a photo. And the curious thing is that I'm not the one saying it. Someone who knows the noise of modern football up close said it. Jurgen Klopp, a coach used to living among stars who chase the spotlight, yet still gets surprised by what Messi generates without even opening his mouth. Because that's where the controversial and the fascinating meet. In a world where everyone screams to be heard, Messi becomes the center of the conversation with the smallest gesture, with an image, with a movement that seems casual but ends up being historic. The German said it with admiration and a touch of disbelief. He has never seen a player who doesn't make statements or try to attract attention and still becomes the talk of the planet. And the most beautiful thing, Klopp says, is that this respect is earned without forcing it, without marketing strategies, without prepared speeches. It's as if football itself speaks through him. And this is where the story becomes captivating, because we're not just talking about a star who scores goals. We're talking about a cultural phenomenon that redefines what it means to be an idol. If we think about it coldly, Messi is the antithesis of the modern footballer who lives glued to social media, interviews, and headlines. He doesn't need any of that, because every time he touches the ball, the world stops. Isn't it ironic that in the era of overexposure, the most influential player is the one who speaks the least? That contradiction is what turns him into a legend, because his greatness doesn't rely on speeches. It relies on actions. And here's the hook. What other player can generate so much with so little? Messi doesn't need words, he needs presence. His mere appearance is enough for millions to connect emotionally. And that, beyond the titles, is what sets him apart. Because while others try to build their image, Messi lets his image build itself. Now let's think about what this means for the world of football. Klopp, who has coached charismatic, media-friendly figures, recognizes that Messi is different. And is that difference an uncomfortable mirror for the rest? How many players depend on statements to stay relevant? How many need controversy to be news? Messi, on the other hand, becomes news by existing, by being there, by simply being. And that's the true silent revolution he leaves us with. What seems like a small detail is actually a reminder that football can still be pure, can still be genuine. Messi shows us that greatness doesn't need embellishment, that respect is earned with talent and humility, and that even in a world saturated with noise, silence can be the most powerful voice. And here comes the personal reflection. What Klopp points out isn't just admiration, it's also a warning. Football risks losing its essence amid so much spectacle, but Messi reminds us that the essentials remain intact, that a player can be loved for what he does on the pitch, not for what he says outside of it. And that is a lesson that transcends generations, because it forces us to think about what kind of idols we want to follow. So the question becomes clear. What does it mean to you that Messi generates so much without speaking, without seeking the spotlight, simply by being himself? Do you see him as an example of humility, as an unrepeatable phenomenon, or as a sign that football still has room for authenticity? And if we keep broadening the view, what Messi represents isn't limited to the pitch or titles. It becomes a mirror of how greatness can coexist with simplicity in any area of life. His silence, his way of dodging the noise, is also a form of resistance in a world that seems to demand exposure and spectacle. In times where everything is measured in trends and headlines, Messi shows that essence can still prevail, that authenticity can rise above exaggeration. And that message isn't just for footballers, it's for anyone who ever felt they had to invent a persona to be accepted. What Klopp sees with amazement is actually the confirmation that Messi is a cultural phenomenon that transcends generations. Because he doesn't just inspire those who love football, he inspires anyone who sees in him an example of how one can be great without losing simplicity. That humility becomes a bridge between cultures, between different realities, between those who saw him grow up in Rosario and those who follow him from any corner of the planet. And here comes another fascinating paradox. Messi is universal, yet at the same time, he feels close. He is the global idol who behaves as if he were still that shy boy who played in the streets of his neighborhood. What seems like a sports gesture is, in reality, a social message. Messi reminds us that greatness isn't measured by the number of headlines you generate, but by the ability to inspire respect without needing to ask for it. And that is why his figure transcends the sport, because it connects with values that everyone recognizes, even outside football. His humility is a reminder that true respect cannot be bought or fabricated. It is earned with actions, with consistency, with authenticity. If we think about it in a historical perspective, Messi becomes an inevitable reference point. Just as Pelé and Maradona defined eras with their talent and charisma, Messi does so with his talent and humility. And that combination is what makes him unrepeatable. Because it's not just about what he does with the ball, but about how his way of being redefines what it means to be an idol in the 21st century. It's a reminder that football can be more human, more authentic, more connected to the people. And in that closeness lies his power. Messi doesn't place himself on an unreachable pedestal. He stays at the level of those who admire him, as if saying with each gesture that greatness can also be simple. The reflection becomes deeper when we understand that Messi doesn't just play, he teaches. He teaches by example, with the way he interacts with teammates, with the way he accepts glory without losing simplicity. That silent teaching is what turns him into a role model that transcends borders, because every child who watches him understands that you can be great without being arrogant. And every adult who observes him understands that success doesn't have to come with vanity. Messi is a symbol of authenticity in times of noise. His legacy isn't measured only in titles, but in the way he inspires millions to believe that humility can coexist with greatness. And here lies the most valuable part, that the best in the world is also the simplest, that the most admired idol is also the most approachable. That combination is what makes him unrepeatable, and what guarantees that his story won't be measured only in statistics, but in the way he connects with people. So the question that floats inevitably is, what does it mean to you that Messi is remembered not only for his goals, but for his way of being? Do you see him as a model that should shape the future of football, or as a unique phenomenon we will never see again? The conclusion is that Messi reminds us that true greatness isn't measured only in titles or records, but in the way an idol relates to the world around him. His humility, his silence, and his way of letting football speak for him are a powerful contrast to the constant noise of modern sport. What Klopp pointed out with admiration is, deep down, a lesson for all of us. You can be the best without losing simplicity, you can inspire respect without seeking it, and you can be the greatest without giving speeches. That's why Messi isn't just a footballer. He is a symbol of authenticity in times of excess, and his legacy will be marked not only by goals, but by the way he showed that humility can coexist with greatness. Leave your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel, because here we keep telling stories that make football something much bigger than 90 minutes.